everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eating at a Meeting. I am Tracy Stuckrath. I am excited to bring to you this guy that I met in, where were we? At Catersource in
Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in March last month. And he was about to do a session on cocktails. And so let me introduce you to him. His name is Rob Husted. He is a bartender. And as you can see on his shirt, bartending is his real job. He's a bartender, an educator, an industry leader with nearly 30 years of experience. He's the founder of BarWars and the Cocktails for Hire and co-creator of the Cocktail Network Live. He's known for promoting flair bartending, which we're going to get into, and mixology world. And really exciting for him and those in the flair network or in bartending is that they recently premiered Shaken and Stirred, which is a documentary movie celebrating the art and impact of flair bartending. So he is very passionate about this and wants to help other bartenders and event planners deliver unforgettable bar experiences. So welcome to the show, Rob. How are you?
Tracy, I'm great. Thank you for having me. As long as I got a couple Celsius or energy drinks in me, I'm ready to go.
That is good. I'm so excited to have you here. I mean, and when I met you, you were getting ready for that presentation at Catersource, and I didn't get to sit in it because I was actually doing my podcast. But I looked out the media room window and there were like 200 plus people in your session. It was packed. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was blown away. It was my first time doing Catersource. A little bit about the past, and I researched it. It looked, at least from their online presence, like really well organized and a lot of great events and seminars. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to expect, but the great people at American Beverage Marketers, Finest Call Real, brought me out there. I went there the first day, kind of scoped it out. And luckily we had the first seminar, so I had plenty of time to set up because there was a lot to do with this seminar. And shout out to the staff at Catersource. They brought in a team of like 6 people helping me put it all together and set those tasting mats up. And it about 15 minutes before it started, the line just kept growing and growing and growing. And like I went out there and filmed some video. I'm like, this is amazing. And then it was, they brought in extra tables and put them in the back to accommodate as much room as they could. And then there was people standing on the side.
Yeah.
It was one of their best attended seminars of the event. So I'm just very happy to hear that.
That is awesome. I'm so excited. And I mean, and that shows a testament to that beverages, whether they're non-alcoholic ones or regular ones, is that there's a very big interest in them and people want to provide a better experience. And we already have a comment here. Hang on a second. This is so exciting. I don't know how to say it. Rob, always the best. Love from Nepal. Wow. Hi. How are you?
Great.
Now, how do I say that? Xantox?
Yeah, we a good flair bartender for Nepal. I remember sending them a care package many, many years ago, and they sent me some rum as a thank you. And now they run a whole program out there for bartending. So great job.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you from Nepal. I need to come visit you. Okay, so bartending is your job, is your real job. But what is flair bartending, and what is your background in wanting to educate and improve the bartending experience for people?
Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Flair bartending is just creating an added experience and added excitement to your bar and to your guests. It's not all about the fire-breathing 10 bottles, blowing fire. That's what people see from TV and movies because that's like the extreme of it that everyone wants to show. But flair is just quick little things, fun things you can do. Most of the time behind the bar, it's like a bottle and tin. So you're just doing some quick little moves to enhance the guests. Hey, you guys doing okay? Another drink? What can I get you? Just quick little things that really don't slow down service, but give you that added value. I can get that same rum and coke from the bar down the street, or I can get a rum and coke at this bar, pay the same price, but get a way better value out of it here and be entertained.
Okay, so that's even going completely away from it says stream link. Okay. Is that going away from have the server push the button and go get a drink. But I mean, that's not taking away from your job. That actually is allowing you to do your job better because you're focusing on those people right in front of you. And that server is going to get that standard rum and coke from somewhere else. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And then my background on flair is I started flipping bottles May 9th, 1999. I know the day because it changed my life. It had me going down to an event called Bartenders Bash in the Florida Keys in Isla Morada. And I'll never forget this. There was Rob, the Tin Man Ford, had a mixing tin in this hand, threw one behind his back, got it to land sideways. I'm like, and I called my friends, like, I'll call you back. I want to watch this. It took me watching a competition live saying, I want to do that. And I started buying the practice bottles at the time from Flairco and barproducts.com and doing the training videos on VHS and practicing. And I went to my first comp in September because that's when the internet was just coming around. And I found out about it, Show Tenders comp. There was three different competitions at that time, a separate speed comp, separate accuracy comp, and a separate flair comp. And they were paying prize money for first, second, and third out of all those. I'm like, awesome. Like, I'm the best flair bartender in South Florida. I can do this. And I went there, and there was only 4 of us competing. So it was great. Rob the Tin Man Ford, the guy that I watched first do it, a guy named Rob Carujo from New York, a guy named Brentley Cobb who lived in Orlando, Florida, and myself. So I'm like, awesome. There's only 4 of us. Like, this is great. Odds are I'm going to win money or do really well. Needless to say, after 2 days of competition, I finished in dead last in every category. I was humbled. I'm like, what do you do at this point? Do you just give up and walk away? Do you bitch about the results? Like, no. Like, I've always been very competitive growing up in high school and stuff. So I took that time and just buried my head and just practice. And when I say practice, like outside in the backyard, practicing 6-8 hours a day in the Florida sun, flipping bottles, perfecting your craft, and then performing at work. And then happy to say the year after my third competition after that was Bartenders Bash the following year in May. And out of 29 competitors, I finished third. So it was extremely nice. And then the confidence builds up like, okay, I can do this. And then you get that energy from the people in the audience or on the other side of your bar when you perform flair, like it feeds you. You create that excitement and you want to do well. And then I started competing more locally, more regionally, more nationally. 2004 is the most accurate bartender in the whole world at the Legends of Bartending competition. And then in 2005, I was second best American, 11th in the world for flair bartending, right behind Tom Alley. And from that, like a lot of opportunities came. I've been on Food Network, Travel Channels, CMT. And the thing my mom's most proud of me of is the hit music video, It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere by Alan Jackson and Jimmy Buffett. Bartender music video, flipping all the bottles.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's my background on flair. And then now I take that experience and all that and try to teach that to the next generation, to teach them that bartending can be more than just you behind the bar on your phone. Why isn't it busy? Or I'm just doing this through college. That bartending can be a real job.
Well, that's really, really impressive. And I mean, I know that there are bartenders in restaurants and bars that have made it their career and that are very good at it as well. I mean, so I find this really fascinating, and I love the fact that it adds some more flair to an event, because we typically, when you do go have an event, you don't have that fancy service level. You have somebody making a rum and Coke and serving it. How have you helped events evolve in that way in helping them to provide that extra experience, and what does it do for those events?
I feel like the biggest overlooked thing in event bartending, and we've all gone to events, whether it be a wedding or a corporate event, they have someone behind the bar, and they're great at what they're doing. They fill a service, nothing against whoever that is. But I feel like where most bartenders lack is that connection to the guest, making them feel something, whether it's something special or just something. And I feel like flair gives that added value. And what most people don't see is, to flair bartend, it takes a lot. Like I mentioned earlier, we were in the backyard practicing 6 to 8 hours. So when you have someone that dedicated to their craft and their passion, they put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it. So when we go to these competitions, we get tested on accuracy, we get tested on speed, we obviously get tested on flair, but because of all that practice and testing, it kind of hones your skills to make you a better bartender overall. So you'll see at the time when you'll see a flair bartender, and again, every inception is different. You'll see a flair bartender aside from a basic banquet bartender. The flair bartender is having more fun, knocking drinks out way quicker, and making those connections with the guests that really just elevate the experience.
Right. Yeah. And do you see those planners, those event organizers, seeing the results of that? I mean, I'm assuming that if a hotel had that, they're selling more alcohol, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The correct flair bartenders. Now, again, there's always different people, doing things. And most people, when they hear a flair, or especially maybe 5 years ago, when when event bartenders or event planners heard of flair, like, oh no, we don't want to do fire and this and that and liability. I'm like, fire is very something little that even some of us do. Most of us stay away from it because it's not really practical behind the bar unless you're putting on a show. When they hire you for the first time and actually sit down and watch you, or more importantly, hear their clients rave about you and take the pictures and show those and promote them, they're like, this is awesome. It really takes you just hiring the right professional bartender, whether it be flair, whether it be mixology, whether it be a speed bartender, and really seeing there is a difference of professional bartenders versus just someone you stick behind a bar.
Right. And how do you, okay, so accuracy, like there's an old fashioned or there's a Long Island iced tea, like I can't even come up with some Singapore sling. Oh my gosh, I'm coming up with the drinks that I drank when I was in high school and college. But, you know, the accuracy of that, and are they, okay, so how do you do that? I mean, how do you memorize all those recipes of those drinks? And then what if somebody comes up like me and I say, I want something with some ginger in it, not a lot of sugar. How do you do that accuracy and that speed with that?
There's a lot of different variables there, and there's more than one answer. So this is going to be fun. I'm going to answer this question with a balance of answers, like a good, well-balanced cocktail.
Okay, good.
But let's start off with accuracy. Accuracy first is like, how do you know how much to pour and this and that? Well, accuracy all starts with your bar tools and the bartender's knowledge. These bar tools, the spill stop 2550 metal pour spouts, you ask any real professional bartender, especially here in the USA, but even outside the USA, what their go-to pour spout is, and it's these. These are a little bit more expensive than the regular ones you'll see, the plastic ones or the knockoff, but these things are durable and they're accurate. So with this, it's the actual hole in here is a medium flow. So when you pour, you know exactly where to hold this bottle. If I'm going to put this bottle at this angle, it's going to pour slower. If I'm going to pour it here, it's going to pour faster. If I'm going to pour it here, it's going to pour slower. If I'm going to pour and use my finger to cover up the hole here, it's going to pour a lot differently. There's so many tricks and techniques that from doing it so many times, you become a master of your tools. So now that you know how the cadence, the proper procedure, the proper performance, now it's just all just counting. And how you count is up to you. It's like bubble, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, cut. To me, would be a perfect ounce and a half. Now to go to your second part of the question, there are standardized recipes, especially way back when, before the internet, when it was all books and it was a lot easier to keep it all organized. And there wasn't Instagram influencers out there making up their own damn recipes and changing recipes and ingredients. Basically, you have a template of what you've been bartending with. And I highly recommend learn the skills of bartending first before you learn how to flair bartend. There's your soundbite right there.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, because you can't do all of that fancy stuff if you don't know the basics.
Correct. Get that foundation down first. Yeah. And then from there, now it's about creating cocktails. Like you said, like, all right, well, I can make your Long Island, Singapore sling, all that. But like, all right, I want something fruity, fancy. Those questions, those people I love, because now I'm not only giving you a great experience while entertaining you and looking you in the eye and making drinks quickly, but now we're having a tailored conversation of how to make you a cocktail. And I learned this from Dean Michelada Cerniels, who taught me this.
He just commented on you.
Oh, what did he say?
He said, Rob is the best event bartender I have worked with. He has a great team too. So Dean, you guys are plugging each other. Did you plan that?
No, not at all. But he taught me this tactic back in, I think, 2002 at a cocktail conference called Mixology Matters. And it's a two-part question that I ask any guest at my bar or comes up to my bar to get a tailored cocktail. But if you're working high volume, you don't have a half hour to sit there and talk to them to really dive in. So we use something called the taste access grid. So basically what that is think of 4 quadrants, right? Like sweet, sour, strong, and weak. So the first question I'll ask is like, do you want something sweet, sour, strong, or weak? Or like, well, give me something weak and sour. Cool. So now I have a pin on the map, weak and sour. All right, amaretto sour. Or give me something strong and sweet. Cool. Hurricane. So now you have a pin on the map to like give them what they want as a starting point, opposed to, well, what spirit do you normally drink? Whiskey. All right, well, I'll make you a whiskey drink. Or what do you normally drink? A margarita. Okay, I'll rehash a margarita recipe. No, like give them something different. So that's the first question I always ask. And usually they answer that really quick. And then second follow-up question I'll ask is there any flavors you don't like? And I specifically say flavors opposed to any spirits because like, oh, I don't like coconut or I don't like this, because most people say if there's any spirits you don't like, they're going to say, well, I don't like gin. I can make you a damn good gin cocktail no matter what profile you want. You're like, oh my God, that's gin? Like, yes. So don't be afraid to go out there and learn different techniques and watch other bartenders, go to different seminars and see how they handle things. And then don't be afraid to apply it yourself, and don't feel like you're going to master it right away, because it's going to take a lot of growing. But like, these are all tactics that took me decades to learn. I didn't know how to do this in the beginning, but it took dropping the ego and learning from other people to make it a better experience. Yes.
All right. Well, and I love that. And Zan Talks just from said, sounds good. Be a better bartender before becoming a flair bartender. And cheers to you, sir. I like that, because it really is, one, it's connecting. And I think events are really, really valuable in connecting people, whether it's between you and me who are there to build business, or me and that bartender, right? Because my whole experience, and actually there was a LinkedIn post about coffee this week from David Adler about using coffee as a connector, right? And how we should use it better. And I think this does the same thing, but with that alcohol and non-alcoholic side. And before the show, I was telling you about a drink that I had at the Dead Rabbit, and oh my gosh, it was a non-alcoholic spirit. I need to find the bartender's name, because he made me a really, really good drink. And then just on the fly, based on that experience that you have. But then the other one used one off of their, and this is in Austin, off of their menu, apparently. I don't know, but I'm like, oh my gosh, don't ever give me that drink again. So my point in telling you that story is not bashing them, because I had a great experience. Thanks, Tom and Kim, who took me there. But how do you know those flavors, and how do you know what to mix, and how long you said decades, but it's really finding that mix of fresh ginger or gin or whatever. Do you have to go to culinary school?
If you do, it definitely helps. One of my dear friends, longtime friend, and helps out with our competitions, Josh Gates, he actually went to culinary school. And then when he entered our bartending competitions, in the beginning, he kicked all our asses because he knew how to balance those flavors. But us, we would learn from him, as well as other people, and Food Network is great. But the best way to learn is just try it in your kitchen. There are so many nights that I've made bad cocktails trying different things. You get through 10 bad cocktails to get to a decent cocktail, to get to one decent cocktail. And then from that one decent cocktail, you try that 20 other different ways to get to a good cocktail. And you keep progressing. So it's trial and error. Don't be afraid to try anything. And then the good thing is, depending where you work and depending what bar it is, and especially if the drinks are free, like an event that we were talking about, don't be afraid to try anything. If you don't like it, I'll make you something else because it's free, right? And just keep going for it, and use this back bar as like your experiment. Like, all right, cool, Munion's Pawpaw. What is this? Papaya liqueur from Florida. Never tried it. Like, test them, use them. And especially if it's slammed and busy, pick your moments. Maybe not the best time to do that. Make them something good. But when it's dead, like, hey, you know what? Let's do this. You want to let's try something. If you don't like it, I'll make you something else. But let's have an adventure. Include them in the process and make them feel special for going on that journey with you. Right.
Exactly. Dean just popped in here and said that taste access grid is brilliant. Thank you. And I like that idea of that journey that you just said, right? Is like, it's this flavor profile. And how do you, when you're designing these cocktails, and let's talk like for an event, and if you're having with some 10th anniversary and I want my brand colors in that cocktail, or is it best? How do you come up with those for that if they want to have that signature cocktail at an event, but also because of your session at Catersource, batching those? How do those two things play together?
You just kind of answered the question with answering the question.
Okay.
Exactly that. Like I have a conversation with whoever's hosting the event, whether it be the bride and groom or the caterer, or what the event is their goal. What's their focus? What are they trying to do? Maybe it's a sustainability event and they want to keep their cocktail low sustainable, or maybe it's a non-alcoholic event or low calorie event. Like, get as much information as you can. And then for me, it's like a puzzle piece. Like, all right, you want something low calorie and your colors are yellow and blue because you're college something alumni and this is what it is. All right, cool. I can play with this. And then you just kind of plug and play everything together. And then when it comes to now I know what I want to make, right? Now I look at it as how are we going to execute it is the second step, which you should live to. And batching is to me the quickest, easiest way to get stuff done. And from the seminar, you those of you that attended know there's multiple ways to batch a cocktail. There's not just one thing. There's different execution levels. How much time you prep ahead of time will save you the time during the event. Cocktails on tap with the keg cocktails that I love. Either batch cocktails in a bottle, you put them in a Gatorade cooler. There's so many different ways. But once you finalize that cocktail, and when I say not just a cocktail, like garnish, ingredients, like presentation, everything, glassware, you learn how to streamline it where you do it as quick as possible. I mean, a nice, easy way could be like, just like this, like something, knock this out, right? Cool, I make this beautiful cosmopolitan here, right?
Nice. I'm
going to do something fun, boom, pour this on here, and we're going to do that, boom, flavor blaster. That took like 2 seconds, but look at your face right now. That is aroma, peach, like this is great. And like, how do you balance all that? It's all about just going to other events, seeing what other people are doing, going to bars, going to seminars, and seeing what's relevant out there. The great thing for trends and stuff is honestly like Instagram and TikTok. Everyone's out there throwing stuff out there, like the printable stuff on the cocktails now. It takes a couple of seconds, but it adds some extra value to it. But there's a lot of bad stuff as well, which I hate seeing stuff like that trend that was going around of taking steel wool and lighting on a fire. I'm like, are you idiots? You're going to kill someone with those metal shards in there. But they were doing it and they're putting on a drink and putting steel wool on here, lighting on fire, and it sparkled, but all the metal shavings were going in the drink. I'm like, you're an idiot. But from that, you get inspired, like, well, how do I do that safely? So I've been trying to work on it and do it safely, where I'm coming up with a cinnamon cotton candy that will do the same thing, but be safe. So there's always inspiration out there.
Okay, so my client is on Instagram over here, and Karen, and she's like, hey, is he available in Nashville for next May?
I literally travel the world doing events. I was just saying before we jumped on the call, I was in Portugal last week helping out with events there. I've done Nashville a lot of times, and one of our good buddies, Mike Hastings, with the Impressed Guests, also works out of Nashville. So if you need 2 Flair bartenders, you already got a great one there, and I'm happy to come work as well.
Well, and I'm in charge of food and beverage, so if she gives me the okay, we'll do that. Yeah.
Nice.
No, that would be fun. I mean, we don't want to be calling the fire marshal on anything. Hello, Sarah. Sarah and Spices just joined, and Karen Brown. Hello on Instagram over there. Fire marshals are not a good thing to be calling when you're having an event. I want to, because you're doing all of these things, how do I now make that as a non-alcoholic version of that? Is it just eliminating, like the guy at the Dead Rabbit, he wasn't using any of the non-alcoholic spirit beverages to put in the drink. He was actually just using juices and like fresh ginger and things like that. So how do you do that to make that signature drink also that non-alcoholic version? What's the best way?
To answer your question is no, it's not just the fact of removing the alcohol and doing everything else and here's a cocktail. No, because then you lose the biggest thing that people overlook is complexity, the complexity of the cocktail, because now all those complexities in that gin, if you will, those botanicals play into that perfect south side with the mint and the citrus and the club soda. Like, wow, that's a great balanced cocktail. It's fun. It's a roller coaster of flavors and a journey, if you will. Take those complexities out with the gin, and now all I have is mint, sour, and soda. It's like, it's very one note. It's very, and unfortunately and I hate the word mocktails because I feel like you're mocking something. I like the words NA cocktails or spirit cocktails. But that's why I purposely named that seminar that, just to get that attention and pull that up. But that was the most overlooked thing for so long, is that complexity. Now you have other ways of adding that complexity in there. Like Fee Brothers does a great line of a lot of non-alcoholic bitters that they'll do, like Aztec chocolate and cherry, where there's no alcohol. They use glycerin, and then you can make your own flavors in there using Fee Brothers. And not all of them are non-alcoholic, but the majority of them are. You can make your own bitters. Like I teach a seminar on building your own bitters and how to do bitters and use syrups and different things and glycerin, how to make your own cocktails. And then I'll give you a little peek into the seminar that I did with that Catersource is to go back to just taking the alcohol out. Besides complexity, the other thing you're missing is mouthfeel. Perfect example, and this is the example we use, is an old fashioned. Old fashions are still popular. One of my favorite cocktails I love. So we make a basic old fashioned, right, with whiskey. My recipe is the old school way, not the new fashion or not the Wisconsin way, if you will, with brandy. But much props to them. However you like your cocktails, up to you. But 2 ounces of bourbon or whiskey, just a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, 2 dashes or between 2 to 4 dashes of your favorite bitters, depending what you want. Stirred, boom, orange peel done. Flamed orange peel, if you can really do it, would be nice. Simple, complex, traditional, old-fashioned way, right?
Okay.
You take that cocktail, great, I get it. Warmth, balanced. I feel something. Complexity, I feel weight in the glass. I feel like I'm drinking something. Take the spirit out and replace it with an NA spirit. There's a lot of great ones out there, but when you taste it and make that same exact cocktail, let's say you replace the bitters with the Fee Brothers bitters, right? So you knock that out, you use the same amount of simple syrup because that's non-alcoholic, and all I'm doing is replacing the 2 ounces of whiskey with a non-alcoholic whiskey of 2 ounces. To me, it's like flavored water. You lose that mouthfeel. You lose something. Like I feel like I'm not drinking anything. I'm drinking sugar-flavored water right now to going down quick. So we show them, here's how you fix that. You take some same ingredients, 2 ounces of non-alcoholic whiskey, use the same Fee Brothers, but the difference is instead of using that 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, you're going to use a 1/2 ounce of Real agave syrup, stir shake because it's a little thick depending on what you want to use, but you want that thickness because now when you make that drink, it has body, it has mouthfeel, it coats your thing. And like, now I feel like I'm drinking something. It doesn't go down like water. There's a little bit of consistency there. And then with that orange peel, you get the aromas that bring it in. And that is a well-balanced cocktail where you're not losing the experience as most cocktails or spirit-free cocktails do by doing juices and a garnish.
Right. Well, and my biggest joke is one that I had at a venue in South Carolina, and they mixed cheer wine with Fresca and called it a non-alcoholic. I'm like, that's a soda, a double dose of soda. That is not a non-alcoholic cocktail. Yeah.
And I hate that I'm laughing, but we've all been there. We had to do that in the beginning, thinking this is an option. Like the first NA spirit or any virgin cocktail or spirit-free cocktail we all had was the Shirley Temple. As a kid, that was great. Like, but we evolved since then. So we had to start somewhere to get where we are now.
Exactly. And Karen just wrote in here, amen. I hate virgin dirty martinis. Yes. Well, and I don't like dirty martinis in general because I don't like that olives. I love olive oil, but not those olive drinks.
To each their own.
Right. Exactly. And that's, I think, what your skill set provides as well, right? I mean, because just like a chef, you're curating these things. And I think those, like to your point of the non-alcoholic versions of it, you're curating a drink. And I want that same kind of experience. And I want that same kind of flavor and mouth feel that you said. I mean, it's just as important and it shouldn't be discounted because I don't drink.
Exactly. You should be entitled to the same experience as the person next to you. But it all comes down to how well that person behind the bar can execute.
Well, and Karen, exactly. And we don't necessarily get that from an event bartender or a hotel or a convention center bartender. And no, I'm not discounting them because they serve a purpose. But at the same time, if you're trying to create an experience and provide a welcoming opportunity, one, either to, as the meeting planner, to meet your food and beverage minimum, or as your hotel convention center to make more money, that adds a whole nother thing to it. All right, I'm going to post another thing that Karen just said in here. She said, where'd it go? The best NA cocktail she ever had that mouth feel, something I wanted to sip slowly, not drink. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And how I came across that was how I talked about earlier. I was in my kitchen one day. I think I was doing an event where they wanted spirit-free cocktails, and every night I come up with something like, how is this wrong? What am I missing? And I just stumbled across it like, oh my God, this is it. And boom, the light went off.
Okay. So what advice do you give to planners who are creating an event and I'm going to use Karen's event as an example. We have 2 receptions that are on the trade show floor. And then we have one event that is the penultimate event. And I see this for that penultimate event, right? Versus that one on the trade show floor. But it could enhance that trade show floor experience. But so what advice do you give to meeting planners in it to add that flair with bartending?
Staffing, not all bartenders are the same, kind of what we talked about. And you use a great scenario, like, all right, on the showroom floor, maybe the attendees paid X amount of dollars to get in there. And they're paying for drinks and they're getting that experience. So that's the experience. As you're an event planner, you have a budget to give back to that experience. But Antemis, well, whatever that name was, sounded a little bit more elegant, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
We're paying a different price to get that access to that event. And maybe the drinks are free or discounted or selection. So it's a better experience. So wouldn't you take that same mentality of, well, if I'm charging the guests more to get a better experience, shouldn't I pay for a better bartender to give that better experience to match it back? And you'll see a huge difference. And don't get me wrong, most flair bartenders are not cheap. They're definitely usually double the price, if not more, of a regular event bartender. I know for us in South Florida, we start off like around $1,000 for 3 to 4 hours just for work. But compared to paying maybe $500 for a regular event bartender, you're literally paying a couple $100 more, where the hundreds of people in there will get a way better experience. Right. Money invested, and they're going to have a great time. So don't be afraid to spend a little bit more to get a little bit back. But again, the same thing is, everyone is different. So make sure you find those right flair bartenders. Just because maybe you hired one flair bartender one day and he was back there juggling fire and thinking the show is all about him, doesn't mean that that's how everyone else is. And the same with those event bartenders. Just because you had one event bartender doesn't mean they're all going to be that level. There are some great event bartenders there as well.
Right. Exactly. And she just said, yes, I see this as a sponsorship opportunity. And she just piped in on Instagram again saying, I'm willing to pay for talented entertainment. Yes.
Perfect. I think Vegas was the first one to really capitalize on that. When the flair bartenders went there, they kind of categorized like, what do we do with this? You're more than a bartender, and we're getting better value out of you. So they looked at them as entertainers and got paid way higher per rate than the normal hourly wage for a bartender, but they put on a show. So entertainment, however you want to categorize it, 100% agree. Like for a show, and why not have the show going on behind your bar the whole night?
Right. Exactly. All right. And Dean just piped in here, small price to pay for your guests to take home a memorable experience from your event. Dean, that's huge. Yeah. And it's kind of like my coffee thing. I mean, coffee and bars they're there. They're the standard kind of thing to do. And why not use that money that you're spending to enhance that experience for them, for your attendees and your sponsors, or all of your stakeholders, to take home that memorable experience that Dean just mentioned. Yeah. Because they're going to talk about, oh my gosh, this is what such and such did. And right. Okay. So when I'm looking at hiring somebody coming to Cocktails for Hire or a different company, what are the things that I need to ask of you to know if you're doing a good job, if you're going to do a good job?
Do you almost treat it like an interview process, but not just the basic questions like, well, how long have you been bartending? How many events you've done? This and that. Like really get to know them. And you'll see from a quick 5-minute conversation if their passion is into it. If you feel their passion is into it, that same passion of that 10% you're getting over the phone should exude to at least 50% behind the bar. If someone really cares, is the first thing I would try to find. If they about their job, they're going to perform a lot better. And then secondly, to back that up, I always recommend asking event experience. How many events you do? Oh, well, I'm a bartender, but just pay me what I'm going to make. Normally I would make this night and I'll come bartend your event. Completely different monsters, completely different things. I look for people that can multitask, think for themselves, because basically when they're there, their bosses and sitting there, their manager, like, all right, yep, do that. Okay, comp that, do that. No, they're their own boss at the time, but they're also representing you. So they need to be able to think on their own, be able to multitask, be able to handle problem solving. Management experience is always good, but it's kind of hard to find that difference and give that value back to the guests. And without the guests knowing anything ever happened, and they're just seamlessly making it all look good.
Right. Yeah. And they're going to stay in that line. And okay, if I was going to have you at an event, how many of you would I put in an event? If I had a party of 800 people.
Okay. So 800. Perfect. Usually people do 2 flair bartenders, because when you have that energy, especially if you put them behind the same bar, so many event planners kind of screw up on this and like, all right, we'll hire 2, or we'll hire 4 bartenders for like, say 800 people. And then we'll split you up between 10 bars and split you up to kind of spread the entertainment out. It's good. That works. Don't get me wrong. But that energy that you're kind of diluting out there, if you will, opposed if you hired now, let's say double that, 8 flair bartenders on 10 bars with other event bartenders. Now you have 2 flair bartenders behind the same bar. Huge difference, because now that energy, we play off each other. We do things together. We'll throw bottles back and forth. We'll have more fun.
That completely reminds me of the movie Cocktail, as well as the one
Coyote.
Yes, Coyote Ugly. Yes, totally.
References, yeah. But that energy that you create together just goes over the top. It's amazing. And then more importantly, there's certain etiquette, certain things that we do as flair bartenders, and most event planners don't know this. If you're going to hire flair bartenders, make sure you give them enough space behind the bar too. Don't cram them like this and just sit in there like, all right, now dance, monkey dance. What am I supposed to do, right? Or one thing I put in our rider is any liquor bottles that we have to make sure they're 750 or 1 liters, because you don't want those big 175s. Like, I barely pour that, let alone try to flip that and break my arms trying to do it. So there's a lot of stuff we'll go over to make sure that you put on a good show. But when you have that space and you have that energy behind each other, it just increases it. But I would definitely recommend for every 150 people, 125 people, at least 2 flair bartenders. Okay. If you're going to put them together. If you just want one bar to be showcased as your flair bar and have your event bartenders knock out everybody else because there's budget or you have different direction, that's fine. Make that bar the bar. Don't feel like you're going to get more out of it by diluting it that way. It's great. It'll work, but you'll get more benefit by putting them together.
Right. No, I mean, completely. And that's what I think in both of those movies that I referenced. I mean, that's kind of what they played off of each other completely and really made that experience so much better. And I don't think I've even watched the movie Cocktail in God knows 15 years. And I can still remember the two of them behind the scenes. So we just got a comment in here. Where are you from, Mr. Pun? Do you know? Hello, Zantosh. How are you?
Hello to the other guy.
Oh, to the other guy. Okay. Well, hello to you too. And where are you in Nepal as well? That I love the fact that somebody's watching from Nepal. Okay. So let's talk trends. So there's a whole non-alcoholic trend coming up. It's rising. I mean, I know it's still the very low margin compared to the rest, but beer and wine have seen a little bit of a hit across the board. What trends are you seeing in this? And as a flair bartender, are you serving me a Bud Light or are you just doing cocktails?
There's something for everybody. There's nothing wrong with just serving a Bud Light or a shot in a beer or even water. Everybody kind of wants something different, but the trend definitely is the last I'd say the last 5 years, it went from specialty cocktails to creating experience to low calorie cocktails, drinking a little healthier, till now it just the end of last year till especially this year, it just blew up to like spirit-free NA cocktails are huge. And if you don't have them on your menu, you're missing out. And the cool thing is now going to other bars and restaurants, seeing that category of spirit-free cocktails on at least half the bars we go to now is huge. And that's where the trends are going. If you're not doing it, you're missing out. It's more than just like replacing the alcohol. And one hack that I love, and I'm shameless, we'll say it, shameless plug all day, is the Real infused exotics like this one, their new one that came out, the pureed pepper. I used to, when I first got into making cocktails at Club Safari, entertaining, making flair, I would go in, we were only open Thursday through Sunday. I would go in beginning of Thursday, 2 hours ahead of time before I was supposed to get there, to knock out and make my own syrups in the Marriott kitchen and then prep those so I'd have them ready to go for the whole weekend. So when people came up, I could still flair and entertain, but make them great cocktails because I had a lot of it done in the bottle already as batched. And that saved me time. But you need to have spirit-free cocktails on your menu. You need to do more now. And the trend that we're starting to see to play along with that is to give that value back, which we talked about. Now you're giving complexity back to that spirit-free cocktail. It's just not the fact that you're doing it better. Given that complexity, you're giving, which people forget about so much, aroma, like that fresh mint on there with something else and visually popping. And then now what I love seeing is be able to take a look at that cocktail and be able to tell a story with it. Whether you're doing something and putting a QR code next to it and it interacts somehow with a digital garnish that this girl Greta does for USBG Palm Beach. And she has a little digital butterfly dancing on your drink as a digital garnish through an Instagram filter that she does. Amazing.
Wow.
Coded Connections. Check her out. There's so much technology out there that people are utilizing too as well. Smells, aromas, telling stories with cocktails are huge right now.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. So then on the whole non-alcoholic, the versions of it, because it's a huge opportunity. And and I tell meeting planners all the time, I'm like, if you need to meet a food and beverage minimum, right, you might have that non-alcoholic beverage on there, the athletic beer, the whatever it is, because that's going to be an additional fee for you versus a $5. Well, so depending on how much you're paying for soda, right? You're going to make more money and meet your minimum faster by having that non-alcoholic version on there. But my question, how do you label them? Because there's a whole, if you're, let's just talk restaurant bar, right? There's some that listed, and here's the NA section, right? And even on a convention center menu, it says, here's the NA section, which doesn't have anything but soda. But there's a restaurant here in town, Cypress Hall, where I live, and they've put like a little twig, like a twig of herb twig next to it, saying this can be made non-alcoholic. And I like that because it's blending it into the same menu versus calling it out. So what are your thoughts on that when you're talking to a venue or a catering company that's doing this?
Well, now you're opening a different can of worms, is all menu design, which is huge. And there's a whole seminar we teach on different menu design. And we've seen so many bad menus as opposed to good menus. So my advice would that be, whatever you're trying to translate, make sure it doesn't get lost in a whole just list of things, right? I like the idea of the icon designating you can have this as a non-alcoholic version as well, but unless it's clearly printed somewhere, it'll get lost in all the text. Or maybe it's just a crap ton of pictures and I'm like, oh, look at the pictures, pretty picture. I'm not even reading this text right here. That would have told me this would have been a non-alcoholic.
Right, yeah.
All in the menu design as well. I personally like to make it stupid simple and keep it simple, stupid, and have just a little section, but I don't call it mocktails, spirit-free options, however you want to call it, or just put a paragraph. You know, what I used to do when my bar Tiki Ono used to run is, instead of doing it that way, we said bartender's choice. If you have an option of a spirit-free cocktail or cocktail you want to go, let's go on an adventure together and order the bartender's choice. So it prompts you to have that conversation with the bartender, opposed to just reading off a McDonald's menu and having less of an interaction in the experience.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And in an event, like, you're not really you might actually have the printed sign on the bar saying these are your options available, but it's a fine line on how you communicate it. And actually I got called out on it. I was at this restaurant and their menus down at the bottom said GF and V for vegan next to their food. And at the top where that had the drinks, it had NA. So I assumed that meant non-alcoholic. Well, no, there was a line above it that says this can be made NA. But because their labeling was done, it looked the same, but their communication about it was different. Right. And so I got a full loaded drink and I'm like, oh no, that's not what I wanted. And
called out. Yeah. But to go back to what you just touched on too, to tie back to the last question, the second, I guess, follow up to that will be execution. Like, it's on the menu a certain way, but how are these bartenders going to execute it? If you're doing a standard banquet bartender, well, then I would put bartender's choice, because they're not going to have that knowledge, or more importantly, know how to quickly answer those two questions to keep the line going, so you're not sitting there for a half hour taking care of one guest. So then I would put it on the menu. If it's a well-established professional bartender, then you have more of a leniency of how you want to do it. But generally for events, because I think this is what we're talking about, print, keep it going and simple would be the best way to go for just your average banquet bartender. Right.
Okay. I like that. Like, all great advice. I really, really appreciate it. And I don't want to discount. I want to get to your movie. So I want to talk about it. So last week or 2 weeks ago, right? Or last month?
March 25th, Tuesday.
March 25th. Okay.
Yeah.
So your documentary called Shaken and Stirred. So tell me about that.
Shaken and
Stirred. Tell people how we can watch it.
Yeah. Shaken and Stirred started from a podcast just like this that Dean Cernils and I do for Cocktail Network Live, called One Drink With. We bring on a guest. First 5 minutes, we talk about upcoming events, competitions, what have we been doing? And then we challenge ourselves to do, the next segment is 1 minute mixology, where we go 3, 2, 1, go. We have 1 minute on camera live to come up with a cocktail for ourselves with flair. And then at the end of 1 minute, time, stop. Wherever process you're in the drink, whether you finished it, didn't finish it, you have to drink for the rest of the show. So it's like a way that him and I drink but entertain and educate as well to get the show going. And it's great seeing that evolve from, 4 years ago, whatever it's been now, to now bartenders doing it on their own social medias and taking the ante up to doing 30-second mixology. And Ivan Yusoff does a great job, and other bartenders out there. So it's really cool seeing that you can knock out great quality drinks in a time, but entertain as well. And then we bring on the guest for the next half hour and just go back and forth and literally have one drink with the guest. Sometimes it's tea, sometimes it's alcohol, sometimes it's sponsored. And we get to know about them while we interview them, but they also educate our audience on something.
Okay.
So the first time Dean and I did it together, we brought on our guest, Deborah Richards, who is a longtime Flair bartender from back in the day. We started talking, reminiscing about all the competition days. And then when the interview ended, we stayed on almost 3 hours later and just kept talking and reminiscing, and then just kept pouring drinks. Like, we were having such a blast reminiscing and telling stories. And then towards the end of the 3 hours, Deborah mentioned, guys, I'm an Emmy award-winning director. We should make a film about this. You're like, yeah, let's do it. We should. Next day went by, didn't think nothing about it. Another day went by, didn't think nothing about it. I think it was on the third day, Deb sends us a group message like, hey, I want to loop in our Emmy-nominated producer. They just did a film called Move Me No Mountain. Like, let's set a meeting. I'm like, so we had the meeting, and after that first meeting, Dean and I were like, I guess we're really doing this. So it was crazy. So we had to come up with like, all right, now how you tell the story of Flair bartending in just one movie. I'm like, there's no way possible. So I've been always pushing for a 3-parter, but we'll see how that goes. But for the first part, we had to tell it within our things was we had to pick 40 people, 40 bartenders, 40 personalities who tell this story. And then like, all right, well, we can do that. 40, no problem. And then we came to it like, all right, guys, now you have 40. You need to knock that list down to 10. We're like, what? Like, how do we go from this to just 10 people to tell the movie? And she explained it. I'm like, listen, we have 2 hours or sometimes less than 2 hours. Everyone's only going to get like maybe 5 minutes of talking points. So you got to really figure out how to tell the story. So between Dean and I, we broke up different categories. I think he went for the beginning. I went for the rise. And then we finished with Resurgence together, the rise, fall, and resurgence of Flair bartending. Like you said, most people have the reference of Cocktail or Coyote Ugly, but don't know more than that. Mm-hmm. So then we figured that out. And then the through line of it all was bringing it to date. The start of the movie to the finish of the movie was following 3 Flair bartenders today, preparing for a competition we do in September called the Bartender Shakedown, where it challenges you on an accuracy round, a speed round, a flair round, mixology round, everything. It's crazy. So that's the through line. They follow them. We tell the story. And then we finished editing. It was all done. Finally. And then it's like, all right, now from the distributors, they want the movie to be under a minute 40. I'm like, what? So then we had to chop out another 15 minutes. It's like but it's like a puzzle, much like making a cocktail to balance everything. And oh my God, that first conversation we had way back in 2022 to having the premiere on September 25th, 7 p.m. in Las Vegas at the Beverly Theater, and inviting, and it was an invite-only event. We didn't sell tickets to it. We just wanted to share that experience with all the cast and crew, the producers, the people that helped put the movie on, as well as all the ones that kind of lived through it with us. It happened purposely during the bar and restaurant show because a lot of those people are already in town. And just going through the red carpet was awesome and answering those questions. But when you got to the lobby and just seeing all the different people there, like the guy that taught Tom Cruise and Brian Brown in the movie Cocktail, John was in the audience. He's in the movie.
Wow.
And seeing Ken Hall and Toby Ellis and Brian from Spill Stop and Bill Hinkebine from Finest Colin Real and all these competitors from around the world all coming for that shared experience. And you sit down in the theater. And at that time, there's only 4 of us that watched it, the 4 producers, Deborah, Patrick, Dean, and myself. And then in the theater, experiencing it for the first time again through new eyes of everyone in the theater and them getting the little jokes and them applauding and them getting pissed off with certain things. Like, we went through that roller coaster of emotions, but we were all tied because of the passion of Flair bartending brings. And when the lights came on, standing ovation.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was just amazing feeling that validation. And we went down, did the Q&A. It was great. And then just now seeing the movie just blow up around the world. We have people asking us to do premieres in Aruba, in Vegas, back again, and then all over the United States right now. They're doing one right now. But the next one we're trying to do was the second part we had planned was during Tales of the Cocktail. I don't know if you ever been.
Okay, yep. I haven't been. I really want to go.
Audience, if you haven't been, go. It always happens in July, usually the 3rd week in July in New Orleans, and it's one of the largest cocktail events in the United States. So we wanted to show this movie in Vegas for the first part, and the second premiere being in Las Vegas during Tales of the Cocktail. So we have meetings about that actually tonight, but it sounds like it may be happening. So fingers crossed, we'll see. But for those of you now,
awesome.
We launched the movie at the premiere March 25th, and as of March 26th, it's available to download. We're doing self-distribution right now through the flairdocumentary.com or shakenandstirredthemovie.com, where you can buy it for $20 or rent it for $10. And then I bought it. We don't get any promo code. So I bought it. My mom bought it. Everyone else bought it. And then we're doing that for the first couple of months because we have to pay back our investors. Roughly, the film cost us, I don't know how we did it, for like $125,000 we raised. So try to get as much money back to the investors. And then after that, it goes to Amazon Prime, Hulu, and other platforms like that. We're streaming where the reach is so much bigger, but the return on investment is a little bit less.
Yeah.
A lot less, I should say. So that's the movie. If you haven't watched it, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really showcases what it takes to be a performance professional bartender today. Whether you've had any interest in bartending or not, it's great seeing the IMDb reviews afterwards, because that's the one thing we ask is after you watch the movie, just log in and give an honest review. And not only people that are in the industry saying 10 out of 10, but people not in the industry like, wow, I knew nothing about bartending, but I loved it. And they related to someone in the film and they just got so much out of it. So well done to the team we had to make this movie, and just hopefully you guys enjoy it.
All right. Well, and I actually, it's got a 9.7 out of 10 on IMDb. That is awesome.
Huge. Yeah. And that's going to help
that
with Amazon Prime later.
Yeah. And here, and I think I just put it up here, but I'll put it again. There's the link, shakenandstirredthemovie.com. And Karen saying, I love his energy and your enthusiasm. So yes, I do too. Congratulations. That's exciting. So very well done. Yes. And now you can enter it into an Emmy or something, right?
Yeah, I know Deb and Patrick, Deb, the director, and Patrick, our producer, are entering into different festivals throughout the world. I know we didn't get into Cannes, so I was a little disappointed about that. But as a common person, that's the only one I know. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But
I'm part of La Dame de Escoffier, women's organization for women in food and beverage. We should do a viewing of it for people in North Carolina, at least the North Carolina chapter. Yeah.
I know people have been reaching out. So I know what I've been doing is directing them to our producer, Patrick, and he's the one helping execute all that.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, yeah, let's do that. Okay. So is there anything before we close up? What would be your advice to a planner about, or an event organizer about adding flair bartending or enhancing, if we can't afford Rob, what can we do to enhance that bar experience for everybody?
Great question. First of all, hire on personality, worry about experience later. I can train a monkey how to bartend, but I can't teach you personality. So first of all, have someone personality that can handle pressure situations, and then mold them and then teach them. Like I said, there's certain tools you can do now to give them to become better bartenders, to give that better experience away. One, like I said, it's the flavor blaster. I love this. We make so much smiles out of this one machine. Don't get me wrong, it's a little pricey. I think I paid $450 for it. They ship it from Europe, and there's cheaper knockoffs now there, unfortunately, on Amazon that still work great from what I hear. But there's one little tool. It took a second, and after 5 minutes of understanding how it works, you can add that experience to them. There's the printable things now. There's tools out there. There's a magic trick that we do called the floating shaker, where you pour a bottle into a tin and the tin just stands there and levitates. And then you pour the drink in, but you do it so subtle, or it doesn't slow down any service whatsoever. You can learn the trick in 5 minutes, but it just gives that. Did you just see what happened there? You just watch your expression. It's awesome. There's another trick with magic cocktails where you pour a tin in here and then you give it a snap and then it'll pour. So if I pour it, nothing comes out. I give it a snap and then the liquid comes out. There's so much little things like that. It doesn't just have to be flair, but just giving that added value to your guest experience.
I love it. Thank you. And I love the fact that there is one, passion behind this, and two, there is a skill set behind it. And just going again back to Tom Cruise, like learning that and the fact that you teach people to do this and there's a resurgence around it. I love it because we take for granted some of these things, right? And I love that this adds such a broader perspective of a standard bar, right? Of what you just think. Yeah.
And one closing question I would say is for event planners or even flair bartenders looking to get into event planning or how to make those connections, my answer has always been the same. And we kind of stumbled across this: go to bartending competitions, whether it be a mixology competition, a speed competition, especially a flair competition. I run the largest flair bartending competitions in the United States. And I literally use that as a recruiting service. We watch people on stage, not just how well they do, but how well they perform on stage, how entertaining they are, how professional are they. And like, all right, cool. Now I know I have a guy in Nepal, I have a guy in New York, I have a guy in Georgia that I've seen with my eyes on stage how they do. Let's give them a shot. And then we hire them out. So with event planners, if you want to make those connections, the internet is a great start. Go to competitions. Get these people. That's where the right talent's at. And if you're a bartender looking to get your name out there, compete. The easiest way to get yourself out there is compete, make a name for yourself, grow your social media, and join the USBG, the United States Bartenders Guild at usbg.org. There's so many great connections, networking events that you're just going to grow. I think
my friend Jessica Pettit moderated or emceed your events.
She's definitely part of the USBG. This industry is such a small world that once you get involved, you just grow. As long as you're honest and you have passion.
That's awesome. All right. Jim Fursey just said hang loose, dude. Is that the right? Is that the hang loose sign? Yep.
I believe so. Yeah. Jim's been on Food Network as a chef. He's a great guy here in South Florida. So again, another small world.
Okay. Yeah, it's totally small world. So Jessica Pettit. Oh my. I love Jessica Pettit. She's my conference roommate sometimes. So you are a rock star. I love this. Thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody who's been on listening and tuning into this. We've got Jim Fursey from Florida. We've got a couple of guys from Nepal, and Karen's from Maryland, and Adia's from Georgia. So a wide variety of people listening and watching. And I appreciate that. So Rob, thank you so much for what you do. It's inspiring and exciting. So.
Thank you. And I just want to give a shout out to the team that we have, because without them, I couldn't do what I do. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me.
Ron on the Flair Ambassador on Instagram, or you can go Shaken and Stirred, and then Cocktails for Hire, isn't it? Right?
Yep. Cocktailsforhire.com.
And the 4 is the number 4. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. Easy way to get a quote, or just reach out that way directly.
Okay. We got another comment in here real quick. Hang on. Let's see who does. Thanks, Rob. Great stuff, my man.
Jim is a good guy. Him and George, great, talented chefs that can enjoy a good cocktail as well.
Okay, good. All right, awesome. Well, okay, what restaurant is he at?
George and them, they were at Meat in Boca Raton, and they won Rachel Ray's Best Burger on one of her Food Network shows. But I know they do a lot of catering right now as well. So this is a perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, Jim. Oh, and Bobby. We got another USBG.
The USBG, we talked about, Bobby co-chaired the IBA liaison board with me. So the USBG, United States Bartenders Guild, is the American chapter. This is how big this gets. Okay. If we got like 2 minutes, is the American chapter of the IBA, the International Bartenders Association. So once you start going to USBG events and like, oh, this is cool. There's other like-minded people. I'm networking. These are all the cool people in my state, my area. And then you go to a national conference and like, oh, cool. Now I got friends in New York and Florida and Georgia and Tennessee and sharing that. But when you go to an IBA event, and it's basically the same price as you would go to a national conference. That's the crazy thing. Now you meet people from Italy, Nepal, Rome, Africa, where they're all exchanging ideas. And now you have that network, and your net worth is as big as your network. And USBG is your first step to the IBA. And then that's another reason why I get to travel the world, is doing these events and showcasing them and making those connections. And I'm just going to shut up, or I'll just keep talking for 2 more hours.
We'll just have to do this again. So no, I appreciate it. And I'm so glad that I just stopped and talked to you while you were cutting limes, I believe, getting ready for your show or your session. So
we connected over spirit-free cocktails and our disdain for the word mocktails.
Exactly. So thank you, Catersource, for introducing us. And Rob, thank you again. And everybody, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, stay safe and eat well. Next week starts Food Allergy Awareness and Celiac Disease Awareness Month. So all the episodes next month are going to be on that. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you then. Thanks for listening to the Eating at a Meeting podcast, where every meal matters. I'm Tracy Stuckrath, your food and beverage inclusion expert. Call me and let's get started right now on creating safe and inclusive food and beverage experiences for your customers, your employees, and your communities. Share the podcast with your friends and colleagues at our Eating at a Meeting Facebook page and on all podcast platforms. To learn more about me and receive valuable information, go to tracystuckrath.com. And if you'd like more information on how to feed engagement, nourish inclusion, and bolster your bottom line, then visit eatingatameeting.com.